How much should you spend on Google Ads per month? You've probably heard it depends from every agency that you've talked to. And that's technically true, but it's a lazy answer. So I'm gonna give you real numbers based on what I've actually seen from running campaigns with service-based businesses. If you're spending less than $1,000 a month on Google Ads, you're probably just wasting money. Not that the platform doesn't work at that budget, but you just don't have enough data to make real decisions. Google Ads needs volume to optimize. It needs clicks, it needs conversions. It needs enough traffic to figure out which keywords, which ads, and which audiences are actually working. At $500 a month in most industries, you might be getting 5 to 10 clicks a day. That's not enough to learn anything. $1,000 a month is the bare minimum that will even work with a client. And even at that level, I'm telling them upfront that the first 30 to 60 days is a testing phase. We're not gonna be profitable right away, we're buying data. If someone doesn't have the patience for that, or the budget to run ads for 60 to 90 days at that rate, then Google Ads just isn't the right play for them yet. And I'd rather tell you that now than take your money and watch the ads underperform. For most service businesses that we work with, the sweet spot for starting out and really getting things running is like $1,500 to $3,000 a month. That's not including management fees, that's just what you're putting into the ads platform. At that range, you're getting enough clicks to test multiple keywords, run different ad variations, and actually start seeing patterns in what converts. Let me give you a real example. Med spas. We run a lot of campaigns in that space. A typical cost per lead on Google Ads for med spa is going to be anywhere from $60 to $100, depending on the service, depending on the location, and depending on how good the landing page is. So at $2,000 a month ad spend, you're looking at roughly 20 to 30 leads per month. Now the question becomes, what are those leads worth to you? If your average client is worth $1,500 to $3,000 over their lifetime, and you're closing even 20 to 30% of those leads, the math works. But that only works if you're tracking the full picture. Not just leads, but booked appointments, show rates, close rates, revenue. That's where most people lose the thread. Once you've found what works, the right keywords, the right landing page, a solid cost per lead, that's when you scale, not before. I see business owners all the time that want to jump from $1,000 a month to $5,000 a month just because they had one good week. That's not how it works. You scale when you have at least 30 to 60 days of consistent data, showing a cost per lead and a close rate that makes the math work. Then you increase the budget by 10 or 15% each time so that you don't reset the learning phase. You don't just double it overnight. Your ad spend is only part of the cost. You also need a landing page that converts. You need a CRM that follows up with the lead within 5 minutes. And you actually need someone on your team who picks up the phone and closes deals. I've managed campaigns where the ads are performing great, cost per lead is solid, and the client's still unhappy because nobody on their team is actually calling the leads back. That's not an ad spend problem, but an operations problem. So when you're budgeting for Google Ads, don't just calculate what you're putting into the platform. Think about what's in place to handle what comes out of it. If you don't have a follow-up system in place or a sales process ready, spending more on ads just means more wasted leads. Get those things right first. Even at a lower budget, you'll see better results than the person who's spending $10,000 a month without a follow-up system. So the real answer, start with $1,000 to $1,500, give it 60 to 90 days to build real data. Don't scale until the numbers prove it. And make sure everything after the click is set up before you spend $1. If you want me to look at your setup and tell you what specific budget makes sense for your business, click the link in the description and we'll set something up.